about this last night, and I was visualizing the family as a chain. And you have, the grandparents, and this chain goes in this sequential order. And we expect that the chain is eventually going to get shorter. But when a link in the middle of the chain is broken off, it just causes a fracture that can't be repaired. And I think the impact on our family, it's been different. It's changed. The whole nature of the family changes. The holidays are not the same. Things are different. And then as we get older, and as her siblings get older, there's just something that's missing. It's been difficult. Everybody has dealt with it a little bit differently. On June 28th, 2017, Rachel and 6 of her co-workers, she worked at the casino at the time, had been planning this tubing event on Knight's Ferry. And they had done this before. Like the year previously, they had done it. The waters had been really calm, and there wasn't really a lot of concern about the rivers that year. But in 2017, the waters were really ragey. It had been a really cold winter. There had been a lot of snow, and the waters were just not even safe for, I think, people who were experienced on the rivers. So there had been warnings. Rachel had been kind of warned about going out maybe the week before, and they just decided they were going to do it just one last time. So her and her friends all met at Knight's Ferry, and they had their tubes, and they had gotten their life vests, and they had a rope that they were going to tie their tubes together. And she had been warned by a friend not to do that, and they had also been warned while they were doing it. One of the guides at Knight's Ferry who worked there saw what they were doing and approached them, and he did advise them not to tie their tubes together. And one of the gentlemen who was with them decided, said, no, we've been planning on doing this, and so this is what we're going to do. And so they proceeded, and they started down the river, which was very cold and very rough. And it was very high, so there were a lot of trees and things underneath the water, close to the surface. And about 10 minutes into the ride, my understanding, just from reading the report, is that the pressure of the water caused the rope to pull the handle off of Rachel's inner tube. And when that happened, of course, her tube deflated, and Rachel went under the water. One of the other tubes also, the tube that was connected to hers, also lost a handle and deflated. And that friend of hers was able to get up to get onto another tube. But Rachel, unfortunately, was being held underneath the water by the rope. It had wrapped around her torso and around her neck area. And while her friends thought she was bobbing for water, she was actually being pulled underneath by the rope and was drowning. So her friends were able to, once they realized what was happening, they were able to kind of get to a place where they could pull her up on the shore. But they were pulling her up head first, and there was already all the water in her lungs, so she was unable to, they were unable to bring her back. It was already too late. She was a strong person. She was healthy. She was athletic. She did a lot of hiking and a lot of she was on the go all the time. And so, she wasn't like a tiny person. The reason that I have felt like I really wanted to share Rachel's story this year is just hearing the stories of the most recent drownings kind of like takes me back, just hearing, recognizing that we had a pretty gnarly winter again. The lakes are full, the water is going hard and fast, and it's beautiful and it's, it sounds like a lot of fun. But I just want people to be careful, to be cautious, to realize how powerful the water really is, and to take to heart when, we're warned about going on the rivers. And it doesn't matter if you have your life vest on necessarily. It doesn't matter if you're a big, strong person, or if you think that, going against what you're told, like, for instance, the tying of the tubes, these things, it's so important to listen to the people who really know and understand the power and the dangers of going on the rivers. I know when we're young, we think we're invincible. I didn't expect that my daughter was going to drown on the river, but I think it's important that people just listen and take that extra minute to really, think about what the consequences could be on family, the friends. There are 6 people who were with Rachel that day who are going to live for the rest of their lives with that trauma. And it's just life-changing.